the Gangsters, Bonnie and Clyde. I love that one. So I love any ballad song. So I'm just happy there's a ballad in the title. I love Swifty. Obviously, we all love Dickie Swift.
Yeah, we love Swifty.
So, but what I would love to have heard is something new from his new album with the word ballad in it. But I didn't get there in the end. I got something from his last album with also the word ballad in it. Okay, well, never mind. Well, it's alright because we need to thin out some of the team anyway. So when we track down who's responsible, they will get fired. Yeah, and we'll do it live on next week's show, like Alan Sugar, because it's going to be correlation. Hey, and talking of errors and blunders by blockheads, wait a minute. We've got the new single from the Blockheads here, guys. We're entering the pigeonhole zone. This is where we assess music from some big names. And the Blockheads, of course, obviously without Ian Dury, have got a new album for 2009 called Staring Down the Barrel. And it's always tricky, isn't it, for bands with a very famous and distinctive lead singer to continue after their death, but the Blockheads have given it a try. This is the first single from this new album, and it is called Greed. Give us your opinion. Released March 23rd, that is the Blockheads, obviously without Ian Dury, featuring Derek Hussey on vocals. Derek, as far as we can tell, is friend and occasional minder of the band, and he's singing there about, well, Greed is the name of the tune. I can only assume that when he refers to oil and diamonds and the like, he's probably referring to oil and diamonds, making some kind of political statement. But it's always tricky, isn't it, when a band continues without their famous front person. I'm thinking obviously of Queen, of In Excess, Bucks Fizz. No, Cheryl Baker, not with them anymore. Don't be fooled if you go and see them live.
Black Lace, of course.
Black Lace reuniting. Of course, they're putting out Agadoo again. Thank God. Yeah, fingers crossed that that gets as high. It was number 1, I think, wasn't it, before?
I think so, yeah.
Good luck to them. Need to hear that again. And so there we are. It's a tricky act to follow. Some big shoes to fill. Harry, has Hussey done it?
I'm not sure he has. Ian Dury, obviously, very distinctive frontman. This new guy looks a bit like Eric Pollard from Emmerdale Farm.
Okay, I don't know the reference, but I'm going to laugh anyway.
Yeah, good. I enjoyed it. Musically, I thought it was really, really strong. Lyrically, maybe not up to Dury's standards, but you wouldn't expect it to be. But still, a worthy effort all round. Well done.
I thought it was nice that, well, did I think it was nice? I thought it was interesting that he sounded not unlike Dury on vocals. Is that a problem?
I think it is. I loved Ian Dury in the Blockheads, and I mean, I'm not a devotee. I haven't got all their albums, and I haven't got the Kilburn on the High Road stuff, but I like their stuff. But I was always aware of the fact that it sounded a bit like a parody of itself. You know, when you listen to the kind of ponderous delivery and all that, and it was really, really fun to listen to. But I think if you start trying to imitate it too much, you just sound like you're parodying. You're doing an imitation, an impression of what Ian Dury and the Blockheads used to sound like. And I think it's a big mistake to start singing songs about the ozone layer and about the environment, because Ian Dury's brilliance was that all his songs were about kind of ridiculous people in the high street and hilariously kind of brave rhyme schemes, which are about essentially trivial and funny subjects. But this idea of, oh no, we're going to tackle corporate greed in an Ian Dury song, I think it's a mistake.
Now then, obviously, there's a danger, Sammy, that with a vocalist who sounds not unlike Ian Dury, that it starts to sound a little bit like a tribute act. Is that something that you felt had happened?
It sounds like something that my dad would take me to at a bikers convention. They are a tribute act, and I'm dancing barefoot in grass, getting covered in sweaty men with beards as beer.
I'm trying to figure out if that's a good thing or a bad thing for you. I can't decide whether you'd enjoy that or not.
It was okay, but I think the music standard was there. The song was good. I wanted to dance to it. But like you say, it was more of a parody than anything, and if you're edging into that territory, I think it's best left alone.
Super Furry Animals have new material. Here is the new tune, Inaugural Trams. New music from Super Furry Animals, Inaugural Trams, which was released 20th of April. Guys, remember controversially back in one of the early episodes of the Steve Show, I was asking people to introduce me to bands that I'd always felt I'd slightly overlooked, and the Super Furries were one of those bands. Is it a band that you've always been on top of, Harry?
I was there at the start, I'm not going to lie to you, Steve, but I've always struggled a bit with the Super Furries. Is it wrong to say that I preferred Neon Neon last year?
Really?
The side project? I think I do, and I think I prefer that to this.
Sammy seems to be nodding.
I also prefer Neon Neon, although that is what the inside of my head sounds like.
I'm not at all surprised.
My clear image, Stephen, was of a underwater video, people walking around on the ocean floor, submarines and things, but the song had no impact on me at all.
Okay, good. Well, thank you very much indeed for that. Before we leave, and before we leave you with Stuart McConey, I'm going to try and squeeze in a new tune from Will Oldham's new album, Bonnie Prince Billy, obviously. The album is tremendous, and it's called Beware, and from 1976, the Ramones from their first album, Ramones, and of course Blitzkrieg Bop. Steve Show 6 Music with me, Steve Merchant, and my little gang of cronies here. Depleted numbers, but still two of the nation's favourites. We've got Sammy from the North. I should say Sammy from the North, or Sammy from NYC.
Hey.
New York. You're in a New York state of mind, I imagine. You've just come back from the Big Apple.
I'm in a snotty state of mind. I actually feel worse than I felt last week. I'm jet lagged. And I've eaten so much awful food while I was there, I've still got a stomach pain.
Oh, don't worry, because you know what we're going to do today? We're going to play some great music.
Oh, thank you,
possibly
Steve.
intersperse that with some lively chat. And you may hear, listeners, some lively drumming going on in the background. That is because our session artist today, Gautier, is just warming up. And who knows, that could go on for the next hour and a half. So if you're feeling a little bit below par, perhaps you had a heavy night last night, then look forward to that, some serious drumming. And I'll tell you, guess what? It's Harry, and he don't work in a bank. Round of applause for Harry. For those regular listeners to the show, you'll know that over the last few weeks there's been much speculation. Would Harry retain his job at a major bank? And it turns out, no, he's not. He's been given the axe.
I'm a statistic of Credit Crunch Britain, Steve.
Brilliant.
So yeah, reality radio, very much so. I'm a shocking statistic.
Did you jump or were you pushed?
Well, you know, the specifics, we could talk about that all day.
Okay, well let's.
Right, yeah, I was pushed.
Did someone say you're fired?
They said I was unsuccessful in retaining my job, which is, you know, to all intents and purposes, the same thing.
Did you have to come in and wheel behind you a small sort of suitcase of clothes? And
No, I took in because the great thing these days is the bags for life from the supermarket.
Right, of course.
So
that's all your belongings in there.
Thursday, 2 big bags for life, full of all my clutter.
in films, they always have a brown box, which they normally put a pot plant and perhaps a framed photo of a loved one in it as they walk solemnly through the office. Perhaps if you're a much loved staff member, they stand up and applaud. I presume that didn't happen.
Didn't happen, no. I kind of just snuck out without saying goodbye. You know, they
Good.
probably still think I'm going to turn up on Monday, most of them.
Did you have a sort of Alan Sugar-esque confrontation with the boss and maybe 3 other people you had to sort of snipe? You said you were all going to work together and give 110% when you were on the team, but when it came to the boardroom...
Oh, naturally. Well, they took me in on my own and sort of told me I was unsuccessful, so that was the opportunity to rant about the person who'd been chosen above me, you know, just basically all kind of underhand tricks and lies about him, really, to try and get begging. I tried sexual favours, nothing would work.
Yeah, all of those, of course, secured you a place on this show, and we're very pleased to have you here. I'll tell you what might cheer you up, Harry, in these desperate times.
Please.
Italy's band Fitness Forever. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they are from Italy. They sing in Italian, and they're a Naples-based 4-piece, so that's pretty much all you need to know. But yeah, they've got this cracking little collection of, I suppose you might say, it's kind of 60s flavoured pop. Have a listen to this track. I have difficulty pronouncing it, so I'll just play it for you. Almost certainly now I'll embarrass myself as I try to pronounce this. My Italian is somewhat rusty. I was practicing the whole way through the song and I'm struggling already. L'anarchica pugiles?
Perfect, that's perfect.
Sammy, you'll have a go at that.
L'anarchia pugliese. That's not
Well, that was terrible.
Pugliese?
L'anarchica pugliese.
Okay, good, confident.
Yeah.
That's exactly how one must talk Italian, I think.
Loudly.
Loudly, confidently,
Loudly.
and don't get the words right, but say it with say it with an accent. If you speak like those Dolmeo puppets, I believe you can get by in
As long as you just have absolute certainty in what you're saying, then they must understand.
Exactly. So yeah, there we are. Just give it to us again.
L'anarchica pugliese.
Nice, great. Number 3 on the menu, and yes, that is a band called Fitness Forever. They are from Italy, and they have a new album out tomorrow, which is called Personal Train. And yeah, we were saying during the song that it might be a little bit intense to listen to a whole album of it, but there's certainly a lot of sort of fun tunes as the summer approaches. Ideal for that. It's been an exciting week of news stories. We don't normally take a sideways look at the news, but there's been some absolute treats this week. And I'm only just getting up to speed on the headline story on the news bulletin. Harry, you've got more information.
Yeah,
it sounds tremendous.
6 Music News have been leading with it, obviously. Home Secretary Jackie Smith. There's lots in the news at the moment about MPs and their expenses that they're claiming for second homes and what have you. She's been claiming for the internet subscription at her home.
Right.
However, obviously they've got a package, the internet and the telly. Husband's been watching movies, you know, of an adult.
Of a gentleman's nature.
Yes, absolutely. And so she's ended up claiming for that off us, the taxpayer.
We, the taxpayer?
Have been paying for her husband to get his rocks off in front of the telly.
Man alive, this is tremendous. So, there's so many questions to be asked. One is, any juicy titles in the news bulletin?
They've not given any. We're going to have to try and come up with some.
I'm sure that if this was, The Sun, they would have a list of 10 sort of erotic movie themes with a sort of political bent. Big Ben springs to mind. The House of
West
mini skirts. What? That doesn't make any sense. I'm sure the
House of Come-Ons. That's not bad.
That's pretty good.
Not bad at all.
That's pretty good. You know, it's off the top of his brain. Yeah, I'm sure the emails and the
Black Rod.
I'm trying to remember if Black Rod isn't he the fellow who comes in and knocks in the House of Commons? Yeah. Just because otherwise there's no double entendre. It's just filth.
I'm assuming our listeners, you know,
our listeners have never heard of Black Rod.
Of course they have. They're educated types.
But Black Rod he's the guy who comes. Is he the guy who comes in and knocks knocks on the thing? Yep. Good. Well, there'll be plenty more of those where that came from, I'm sure. I'm almost certain. I wasn't even going to open this up to the listener, but now I can just imagine people sat there thinking, itching. Their text fingers are buzzing. So you may as well send them in. It'll fill up 10 minutes.
Text us on 64046 or email stephen.sixmusic@bbc.co.uk.
I'm imagining, as I say, that the Sun will have a whole list of them tomorrow anyway, so we'll see which of ours
preempt them. It's good.
Which of ours tally with what they come up with. But it's a tremendous story. And did she know that he was up to this, or was he just? I'll be up in 10 minutes, love.
Well, yeah, I mean, apparently she didn't know. The quotes say that she's given her husband a real ear-bashing over it, but, well, you know, it's a personal tragedy for all involved.
It's an absolute treat. Do you think heads will roll?
They've got to.
We demand it. How give us a musical choice by way of a reward for that cracking story?
Following on from my news of my redundancy, I think the only track to play really is The Replacements. Goddamn Job.
Thank you very much indeed. Harry's choice this week, go for it.
Goddamn Job by The Replacements. However, prospective employers, I don't actually want a job, really. I'm quite looking forward to sitting around for the whole summer and just doing nothing, really.
You'll be, I imagine, seeking out new music.
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you very much. Sammy, what do you know of Arthur Russell?
That song.
Really?
Because I've just heard it.
Oh, well, you see, now, interestingly, I was talking to a friend of the show, Vic Sharma, and he's very much saying that he thinks Arthur Russell's, you know, increasing reappraisal may, you know, develop more in the next couple of years. Nick Drake, of course, essentially overlooked in his lifetime, and since now has become, you know, much loved amongst, you know, unwashed student types. And Arthur Russell may well indeed find himself in a similar position. Dad died sadly in 1992 of AIDS, but amazing guy, sort of a cellist, composer, singer as well, but also he produced like a hip-hop label he had, and he was involved in kind of formative dance music. A lot of his early stuff is kind of very influential in sort of, you know, house circles. Worked with Philip Glass, worked with David Byrne, all sorts. Defies description. Tremendous talent, but yeah, as I say, no longer with us. And there's loads of really good compilations and stuff that came out in the last couple of years if you want to find more, but that one is from 1994's Another Thought, Arthur Russell, and the tune was This Is How We Walk on the Moon. It's very rare that the Steve Show is at the forefront of any breaking news stories, because most things happen in the week. Breakfast DJs across the land get first dibs on any amusing sideways look at the week's news. But what good fortune we've had that Jackie Smith's Bo has been looking at naughty stuff, and it's you know what, it's harmless ultimately, providing it was all harmless. And straight away, we couldn't believe our luck. You, the listeners, of course, have instantly responded. Some kind of, what we're looking for, I guess, is, how would you describe it, a possible blue movie that has some kind of political connotation.
Bent, yeah.
You know where we're coming from. Go for it.
My particular favourite, sent in by two